Welcome to the roundtable. Our guest today was Talmedge Hayes. He has a fantastic story, and we were very excited to have him join us today. It's actually his story inspired the film Just Mercy that's been recently released in the movies. So thank you for joining us today, Mr. Hayes.
Thank you for having me.
So, we got to talk a little bit about your story, but our members would love to hear it. Super compelling. Tell us where did you live? Where'd you start? What was your early life like?
Okay, I was born in 1972, born and raised in Tampa, Florida, and I was living in the West Tampa projects at the time. My dad died when I was 9 months old in a horrific car accident. So I grew up in a single parent household. So I figured that, I kind of was a bad boy in school. I was getting suspended quite a bit. I had to go to an alternative school for 3 years. But I was able to come out of that alternative school and, kind of do some positive things. However, I started to get to hang out with some folks that I should never have hung out with. This happened like in 1988. And so we began to commit crimes, the crimes of armed robbery. So we committed 5 armed robberies and 1 attempted robbery with multiple victims.
And how old are you when you guys started doing that?
I was 16 years of age. My co-defendants, 4 of them, two were 19 and 2 were 20.
Okay.
So I guess I was probably looking for more of a father figure, but I can tell you, my mom done the best she could do with me, and I just was a hard-headed little boy.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's important for young men to have people they can look up to who are men. So unfortunately, people fall down this rabbit hole a lot. And tell us what happened. At what age were you caught? And tell us that process of dealing with the police and the courts.
So yes, I was 16 at the time, and when I was arrested, and when it was time to go to court, the prosecutor was saying that they were seeking a life sentence for me. So leading up to my getting ready for trial, they gave me a public pretender, and so this guy really didn't have my best interest at hand. When it was time to get ready for trial, he suggested that it's in my best interest to plead no contest to the charges and argue for a lesser sentence before a judge. This is after my co-defendants had flipped on me. So from those 6 incidents, I had like maybe 10 charges, 9 or 10 charges from the beginning, but because there were multiple victims, the charges were upgraded and piled on. So I had 39 armed robberies, 15 attempted robberies. The 2 attempted murder charges, 1 person was shot in the leg, another person was shot at, and they even gave us a RICO charge, which is racketeering.
Right.
So when it was time to go to trial, like I say, my attorney said I should plead no contest to the charges to argue for a lesser sentence. Like a fool, I did that, and I was given life in prison without parole, and no one was killed.
Wow.
So
at the age of 16.
Well, my sentence came when I was 17 because my birthday is in February, but my crimes happened when I was 16. So my crimes happened when I was 16. So I went to prison at 17.
Wow.
So out of the 57 charges, the judge went ahead and imposed sentence for each of the crimes. So 34 of those 57 charges, the judge imposed life in prison without parole for those. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And those charges, those sentences were to run concurrent to each other, but consecutive to the 3 minimum mandatory charges for the firearm. And I can tell you, in each of the incidents, not everyone had a firearm. But in the state of Florida, if you commit a crime along with someone else, no matter what, what role that you played in this, each person will get pretty much the same charge.
Sure. So you were saying to me earlier that you mentioned that while the charges were 9 or 10, because your the items were stolen, but because of the multiple victim items stolen were counted as charges as well. Is that correct?
Correct. If anyone lost any type of article, whether it was a ring, watch, wallet, anything like that, whether they were touched or not, that's a charge.
Okay. And so they blamed you. You're saying you were blamed by your co-defendants for the shoot both times the gun went off.
Correct. My co-defendants told the prosecutors and whomever else they figured they needed to tell that I was the shooter in the 2 incidents. So generally, they would think that a juvenile would get less time than what an adult get, and
Right.
In this case, it was not true, because once the sentences were imposed, my co-defendants each one had 9 years with 3 minimum mandatory for the same charges that I received life on. The second guy received 30 years with 9 minimum mandatory. The third guy received 30 years with 9 minimum. Okay, the first guy received 9 with 3. The second guy, 30 with 9. The third guy, 30 with 21. And the fourth guy, 45 with 15.
Wow. Wow. So 17, you get hauled off to prison. Where did you serve your time?
So I went from the Hillsborough County Jail to North Florida Reception and Medical Center, which is in Lake Butler, Florida. That's a notorious place.
Mm.
And once I got there, I was like, God, what have I done with myself? Just give me one opportunity to get out of this place here, and I promise you, I'll try to make the most of my opportunity. So this place is up near Gainesville, and it has a real bad history. So it's just a reception center, and I stayed there for like 5 days, and I went to another reception center at New River West for like a month. And then I spent like the first full 9 years of my incarceration at Cross City Correctional Institution.
Mm. What was that like?
Well, I went directly to an adult prison. So I figured, that I'm in this environment, I need to do something with myself. So I can tell you that my first 11 months, I was able to get my high school diploma, which I was not able to get because of the situation that I was in. And
That's crazy.
and
So they didn't even pretend to put you in some sort of juvie until you reached 18 because of the charges.
Not at all. The charges were serious. The sentence was a big sentence. So I went straight to an adult prison.
Wow. Okay, so 11 months you got your GED. What else and then along came this team to get you out. Tell us about that experience.
Well, so I contacted the Equal Justice Initiative, Mr. Brian Stevenson, in the year 2009, because I saw in the USA Today that they were going to the United States Supreme Court to argue a case, Graham versus Florida, that you can't give a juvenile life without parole for a non-homicide crime. So when I contacted them, they contacted me back. They told me that they were like a small office, and they were mainly doing death penalty cases, and that they had this case, and that they were going to do this case, and they would let me know something later in the process. So I felt like I got shot down just a little bit, because I was like, I had wrote so many lawyers and asked them, to try to get some assistance. So I thank God that I was able to make contact with Mr. Brian Stevenson in his office, which is based in Montgomery, Alabama. So when the case was decided, again, May the 17th of 2010, I wrote to them and asked them, I said, look, I believe this helps me. What should I do to, try to get myself out of this place? They say, well, don't do anything, Talmedge. We think we can help you, and just send us the information. Send us the information on your case so we can be more familiarized with this, and we will see what we can do. And so I had someone from in society to send them some information. And in June the 21st, they came to see me in prison, and just familiarize themselves with who I am, and the case and these type of things. So multiple professional visits is what they call it a pro visit. So June the 21st of 2012, I went back to the Hillsborough County Court to be resentenced, which is the term nunc pro tunc. I'm being resentenced now for then. So at that time, the judge that I had, her name is Ashley Moody, who is now the Attorney General of the state of Florida.
Wow.
So she tried to give me, she did give me a big sentence, because the prosecutor, and this is really important, the prosecutor went to get some vital statistics reports of the life expectancy of a Black man, and that was between 73 and 74 years. So what they were trying to do is get me a sentence to closest to the end of my life expectancy, so I wouldn't have much time out of prison. And so she settled on 75 years, because the guy went all the way up to 100 years. The prosecutor went all the way up to 100 years. So she Ashley B. Moody resentenced me to 75 years plus 5 years. But the 5 years was run back concurrent like it was, and due to the sentencing guidelines that I was under at the time, the 1983 sentencing guidelines, I was able to get a lot of game time. So I automatically get a third off of that sentence. And then, other game time. So I was earning 20 days a month. So it went from like the farthest end of the sentence to the front of the sentence, and it meets in the middle. So truth be told, I was able to.
Can you explain what game time is? A lot of our viewers aren't familiar.
Yes. So game time, you have to work, and you have to have good behavior to receive game time. So there's different forms of game time. I did receive early release credits for overcrowding. It was a different case for the Florida Supreme Court, Gomez versus Singletary, which had early release credits. So game time, basically, you have to be a good inmate, obviously, and do your work. So I was earning 20 days a month. You can earn up to 20 days a month of game time. But if you do some kind of infraction where you get a disciplinary report, which is DR for short, well, yes, a DR for short, they would take some of your game time. But as long as I continue to earn game time, the back of the sentence meets the front of the sentence. So I was able to accumulate 48 years of game time to be released early in April the 1st of 2016.
So the work you're doing is when you're in prison, what type of work are you doing, and are you being paid for this?
Well, the game time is the payment.
I see. So it's free work.
It's free work. However, in 1995, when I was at Cross City Correctional Institution, I decided to work for PRIDE. PRIDE stands for Prison Rehabilitated Industries and Diversified Enterprises. They're based out of Brandon, Florida, but they have different places, different prisons, and they teach inmates job skills to be utilized for whenever they return to society. They try to keep a percentage of long timers versus short timers. So what I mean by that is people with 10 years or more, they like to keep either 30 or 40%. It went away,
What did?
my screen.
You can't see any of us?
No.
Okay, keep talking. We can still see you.
Okay. So what happens is Pride starts people off, well, back then it was 15 cents an hour. You can make up to 50 cents at the time, but now they start you at 20 cents per hour and you can make up to 55 cents. So anyway,
Oh, yeah. Per hour? Okay, so what type of work are you doing through Pride?
so what I was doing was trying to get this. What I was doing was I learned how to be gold stamping. I did gold stamping. My first job was a vinyl hand cutter, and then I did gold stamping.
Say again, what kind of hair
Vinyl
cutter?
vinyl hand cutter.
What's that?
Cutting vinyl for like making notebooks, the different types of notebooks.
Okay.
Mr. Hayes,
Yes.
can I ask you, my name is Sean, and you met me earlier. I'm on the call now. I had a question about you, when you were sentenced. Do you feel like you would have been sentenced the same amount of time if you were a white man?
No, I do not.
Do you think that?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah. If I was a white man, yes, for sure. The sentence, the disparity in the sentences, I would have received less time if I was a white guy. I see it all the time.
That is a huge part of the prison system that still goes on to this day. People are still being sentenced, excessively. When you were working inside of the prison, when you were inside there, did you guys get breaks or anything like that? Or what would happen if, say, for example, you were tired or you were too tired to work? Would they punish the inmates, or how does that work?
No. If you're tired, you're just tired. I mean, if you're tired, you're just tired. I mean, yes, we get breaks. Sometimes, you have a few slave drivers in there. I mean, they just do what they do. I mean, sometimes.
Like the guard, you mean?
Correct.
Okay.
Sometimes these jokers here, they just want to, make things hard on you. And,
Got it. So at what point, so you went in at 17 and then you reached out to Stevenson in 2009, 2010?
Correct.
So how old were you by then?
Oh, you make me think.
I know, doing math. Math is fun.
I was about 20, 27, 28.
Okay. And then so they pursued their case with the Supreme Court, with the state, Graham versus Florida, and then 2010 they started working on your case.
Correct.
Okay, and walk us through that. Like, how long was that process?
Well, they had to go through a getting to know you process. They had to go through a getting to know me. So, they different people would come out and talk to me and try to get to know me. Get to know the specifics of the case. What my role was in the case. Just I just had multiple consultations, if I should say. I guess that's the correct word for that. Multiple consultations.
Is that before they started any legal work? They just started to reach out to you and get to know you?
Well, yes. They actually do their legal work. They do legal work. They do the legal process, but keep in contact with the client to make sure that the client is up to it's up to speed for whatever they whatever they're trying to do for you. They want to try to find the best course of action to proceed with getting a just sentence, I should say, a fair sentence.
Mr. Hayes, can I ask you a question? When you came out of prison and you were finally released, what was America like to you when you looked around and you saw everything that was going on? Were you surprised at how close things were to when you left, as far as racism and just, the hatred is going on towards Black people?
Well, yeah, I have wow. I'll tell you, I was in Brandon, Florida, and when I was riding a bicycle, someone rolled by in a car. It was 3 white guys, and they just hollered out the N-word as they were flying by. It made me mad at the time. It's like, really? I mean, I had not been out for no more than probably about 2 months, and they're still acting like this. It's like, I don't understand this. I mean, you don't even know me. Do you know who I am? I mean, I'm probably better than a whole lot of your friends, but just to be showing yourself, as hateful, it doesn't make sense.
And that's exactly why people like myself and Siata are out here encouraging young Black youths to go ahead and march. And I think it's very important that we get that message out, that they see that even from way back in the 80s and 70s and all the hatred and stuff that was going on then has transferred over to the kids, because they haven't learned. It's not being done enough in the law, and the people higher up are not saying, hey, look, we need to stop this. And, I think it's good that people like you speak up, and, any individual that has a voice speaks up against, the racism. Are you hopeful for the future? Are you hopeful that, things will be better?
Yes, but it looked like it seemed like it's really tough.
Yeah, scary times we live in right now. Let me ask you a couple things. I'm gonna say like 5 things, and you tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay.
All
right. Donald Trump.
He's racist, but my supervisor says that he's mentally ill.
A lot of people agree with that. All right. What about Black Lives Matter?
Yes. Black lives do matter, but I know that, a lot of folks, they could care less about, Black folks. They're just going on living their life and just being hateful. I don't understand that. But we need to, just treat people as for who they are, and just, I mean, we're all human, so that's pretty much where we should think, just treat people with respect.
I agree that we need to be more inclusive, and so that white people and Black people can work together, and all people can work together. What about Malcolm X? What do you think about him? What's your thoughts on him? First thoughts.
Well, I really hadn't studied much about Malcolm X. I just heard a lot of negative stuff about him.
Like you said, it's about you learning somebody. You don't know their story till you read it. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't like them, but I figured it'd be interesting to ask you.
Okay.
All right, so moving on. What do you think about the Equal Justice Initiative?
Those folks are beasts. I love them. I mean, they do a lot of good things. I mean, I've met a lot of folks that that they've assisted. And Brian Stevenson is a man that's doing so many wonderful things. I mean, so many wonderful things. They have a team of people at the Equal Justice Initiative. I mean, you will have to understand them. They not only have lawyers, but they have people that do different type of like social type of work type things, counseling. I mean, it's a lot of things that they do up there. So they have a program that, it's for like a person that may have problems, reintegrating themselves, his or herself back into society. they will take that person. They have a program at the Equal Justice Initiative that they will take that person in and, you know, work with them until they're able to, you know, move along in this world here, you know, freely and, you know, with, you know, knowledge of how to basically just live.
That's amazing, man. Well, yeah, that's definitely worth looking into. I'm gonna look into that myself because I love stuff like that. And I'm gonna leave you one last question. What does freedom mean to you?
So much gratitude. Look here. I have forget the saying, how they say this. I'm blessed. Obviously, I'm here for a reason because I could, you know, just say a few things like, you know, I probably there's a couple of times that I could have been dead and then I would have never made it to where I am right now. But I believe that God has me here for a reason. I'm able to get out of prison for a reason, and so I do go talk to at-risk youth. It's 3 programs that I have been to, and one of them I know everyone in this county knows, and it's Ricky Aiken of the Inner City Innovators. So he's given me the opportunity to come out and talk to his young men and tell them this particular story right here, my story, and you know, hopefully inspire them to, I don't want to be like he was. So, you know, hopefully it works out and I was able to you know, get my point across. Even if I reach one, I did good.
Well, Mr. Hayes, thank you so much, man. And I love people like you that turn their lives around and show, you know, people out there that Black men and women can do positive things, you know, no matter what the circumstances are, man. You are the heroes, you know, of American society. You, people like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, you know, any person that stands up for the right things. So thank you for that. Is there anything you want to leave us with?
Yeah, I mean, I have a card that I was reading from that I normally keep with me every day, and it says, "Keeping your thoughts positive because they will become your words. Keep your words positive because they will become your actions. Keep your actions positive because they will become your habits. Keep your habits positive because they will become your values. Keep your values positive because they will become your destiny." And I said to myself, you know, spending 27 years in prison, straight 27 years, and Mr. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years as well. So I kind of adopted one of his quotes, and it's his. As I walk out of these gates towards my freedom, I need to learn to leave all the bitterness, anger, and hatred behind while I'll still be in prison. And I used to be like, well, what does he mean by that? So I actually see it more now that I'm out here right now. So whatever happened, you know, that, you know, with my case and all, these folks, you know, they said whatever they said. Okay, that's all water under the bridge. I can't get mad at them because I know I've done something to go to prison. So I'm not gonna hate them, but I'm gonna move forward and try to be positive in everything I do from this day forward.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes. I appreciate that. Great story. And I love the work you're doing. Keep it up. Let us know how we can support you in any way. And we'd love to have you back for any updates on any other projects you're working on.
True.
Thank you for sitting down. Yes, sir.
To add to that, we didn't really talk about Just Mercy.
Please.
So,
By all means, yeah.
So Mr. Brian Stevenson has a book, Just Mercy. It's a New York Times bestseller.
Yes.
And so the inception of the Equal Justice Initiative and the work that the Equal Justice Initiative does, you know, one of my attorneys asked me, she said, so Talmedge, have you ever thought about being in the movie? I was like, no, didn't even really give it thought. She said, well, you know, they're making Just Mercy into a movie. I was like, no, I didn't. So she said, well, the director, Daniel Destin Creighton, asked Brian, would he like to have any of his clients in the movie? And Brian gave him your name. So would you like to do that? I was like, yeah. So I do have a cameo role in the movie Just Mercy, and that the book is about, or the the book, you can't put the whole book on screen. So it's about Walter McMillan, a black man that's in Alabama on death row for a crime he did not commit. And he spent 6 years on death row, and Mr. Brian Stevenson went to rescue him. So I encourage, the listeners to look at that movie if you haven't seen it. Jamie Foxx is playing Walter McMillan, and Michael B. Jordan is playing Brian Stevenson. And Eva Ansley has been played by Brie Larson. So it's a very powerful story. You may be mad when you see certain parts of it, but you'll be happy when it ends.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Again, anything else you want to share with us before we go for today?
I've been asked, yes, I do. So there's a lot of people that made my transition smooth, pretty much smoother than it would really be. So, like I said, I work for Pride. Once I got out, I went back to Hillsborough County, Tampa, Florida, to the Abe Brown Ministries, Reverend Abraham Brown. They have a Ready for Work Hillsborough program that helps people, with backgrounds to do transition. So I went through that program, and they teach you how to walk and talk, how to interview. That interview process really came in handy for me, because during my interview, I found a job that came open. The Pride supervisor, the Pride transition specialist, told me that a job in Palm Beach County was opening for an offset pressman. And I do have those skills that I learned while I was in prison when I was at Sumter Correction Institution for 17 and a half years. And so I came to interview for this job. I asked to interview for this job, with my application. When I came down here, they had 100 applications. They only interviewed 8 people. I was the last of the 8 people to interview, and I got the job. And I've been on that job for just over 4 years. So the A. Brown Ministries has asked me to come and talk to potential employers to try to convince them on why they should hire someone with the background. And I did that on 2 different occasions. So in order for me to accept this job in this county, I have to give credit to the Lord's Place, Miss Diana Stanley, CEO of the Lord's Place. I had some folks behind the scene working on my behalf, talking to Miss Diana Stanley. She gave me an opportunity to transition myself back into society by living at the Lord's Place rent-free for a year. And so that was a beautiful thing. And then, obviously they because of my background, when I tried to go out after my year and get an apartment, the people told me that we don't care how long, make a long story short, we don't care how long ago his crime occurred, we don't want him living here. So even you talking like 32 years now, this is like 32 years. That crime happened those crimes happened 32 years ago. They're still holding that against me now today.
Sure.
And it could be, not only because of my background, but because I'm a black man as well.
Of course. So like you can never, even if you serve your sentence and are released, you're still paying for it in society.
Correct. I'm still paying for it now. And,
why you're so vital in speaking out to the youth and getting ahead of them now before they go down that road and have a hard time. Life is hard enough. Don't make it harder.
Don't make it harder. So I thank God, because where I live now, I've been living here for just over 2 years, and I went to get a business card of a real estate agent. And, I talked to her, and I just told her everything. And then she talked to a potential landlord, and the landlord say, sure, we'll give him a try. And, I've been here for over 2 years. So, my next step is to hopefully save enough money to purchase my own home.
Excellent.
That way I won't have to worry about that.
Exactly. Nobody gets scary out. Wow,
Very,
what a compelling story. I appreciate it. Yeah, Sean, you have something to add?
No, I was just going to say very motivational. Thank you.
And I want folks to see this. I don't know if you can see this whole shirt, but this is a Brian Stevenson quote. And I want you to remember this, because when I wear this shirt, A lot of folks say, that's a true statement. And you'll hear this in the movie Just Mercy. Each of us is more than the worst thing we've ever done.
That's true. Thank you for that. Thank you, sir. And where can people follow you or join you, and what you're up to? Because I'm sure you can always use more helping hands.
Well, obviously I just got my first laptop, so I'm not really proficient in doing a whole lot of things, but I talk to folks, to give me some insight on how to, navigate, things that may seem kind of tough for me. I do have a Facebook page, but I really don't do much on Facebook. I don't have Instagram, and
Gotcha. But any organizations that you're currently working with that people may want to volunteer for, at least?
Well, donate to the Equal Justice Initiative. Look them up and see what type of work they do. It may encourage you to donate, because they need all the donations they can get, and it'll help some people that can't afford adequate counsel, adequate representation.
Perfect.
That's great. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I love that organization, and definitely, myself, I know I'm going to donate towards it. So anybody else that can, I recommend they do.
They also have the National Memorial for Peace and Justice and the Legacy Museum. The museum is talking about our history with slavery, and that building that houses the museum and the office of the Equal Justice Initiative, both of those locations used to warehouse slaves. And
Wow.
then they have the memorial, which has the monuments of the known people that were lynched many years ago. They have the county, and the county, most of them have the dates and so forth and so on. So whenever you get opportunity, it's just $5 if you decide to go to Montgomery, Alabama. It's just $5 to visit each one of those sites.
Wow. Wow, thank you for that. It's important for us to go and study our history. I think obviously with everything going on, more people have been educating themselves about what's really been going on in this country and what's happened in the past. So thank you for referencing that, because that is vital, and it's a great way to support these museums for very little money. But thank you again, Mr. Hayes. Your story is like jaw-dropping, but unfortunately one of many in this country that get unfairly judged and thrown away. So I'm so glad you fought for your life and that you got to join us here today. God bless you. Have a great life. Enjoy your freedom, and we look forward to working with you in the future on other projects.
I thank you for having me.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye.